Hello again, audio geeks. Time once again to fuel your audio fixation. Now this week I've been listening to a lot of electronic music. In particular, the latest album by Bicep, which is called Isles, is what's been floating my sonic boat, so to speak. And it really is rather good and definitely worth the spin if you like that kind of stuff. But the subject of today's video is not my questionable music taste, but is in fact about the Apple AirPods Max over-ear Bluetooth noise cancelling super premium headphones. Here they are. But first, a quick plot recap in case you missed it. It all started in 2016 when Apple ditched the venerable 3.5mm headphone jack from the iPhone 7 for no particular reason other than to flood the market with these, the original AirPods. These, to be fair, were the first decent, truly wireless Bluetooth earbuds that worked reliably with Apple devices particularly. And after people got over scoffing about the rather weird look of them, they sold by the absolute boatload. The fact that I could never get these blasted things to actually stay in my ears whilst walking around is neither here nor there, nor is the fact that I don't think they sounded that much better than the free earbuds that came with iPhones. No, none of that matters because the people loved them, and Apple inevitably upgraded them ultimately to these, the AirPod Pros. And I absolutely love these things. I've had them for over a year, and to me they sound really good, pretty neutral actually, and even better due to the silicone ear tips. I actually managed to walk around without them falling out. So I guess it was only a matter of time before Apple turned their attention to full-sized cans, and here is a result of that move, the Apple AirPods Max. Now come on, you must admit you were surprised they didn't call them the AirPod Pro Max. At 550 quid though, buying a pair of these is going to hit your bank balance harder than a smack in the mouth from Anthony Joshua. But the really important question is, do they suck? And because I'm not one of those annoying YouTubers who's going to leave you in suspense until the end of the video, I'll tell you now. The answer is, yep, they do suck a little bit, but they're not entirely without merit. Let me explain. So what do you get for half a grand inside this typical Apple-y box here? Let's take a look. Obviously, you get the big boys themselves, and we'll have a closer look at those in a minute. And they're encased in their rather shoddy rubber bra nappy. I'm sure you can think of your own insulting metaphor for this case. Lift up the instructions and you get the Lightning to USB-C connector. Come on Apple, Lightning, seriously? You know we all want USB-C for all our devices, right? And that's all folks. You don't get a hard case, you don't even get a cable to plug them into a 3.5mm port. Yes, a 3.5mm jack adapter cable does exist, but you'll have to cross Apple's palm with even more silver, another £35 in fact to get it. So with no accessories, all the money is going on the cans themselves, right? They'd better be outstanding. Now the first thing to say about them is that in a world of typically plasticky over-ear Bluetooth headphones, these do feel like a solid and extremely premium headset. The ear cups themselves are aluminium and are ice cold to the touch. Now they're attached to the headband by means of this clever stainless steel telescoping mechanism which allows you to adjust them smoothly, meaning that they will fit you regardless of whether you have a pinhead or an outsized bonce. The ear cups swivel nicely to ensure you'll get a good ear seal, and they're large enough to accommodate even those well endowed with huge ears. The pads are made of this nice comfy memory foam covered in a soft fabric, and here's a party trick. They're attached magnetically so you can easily pop them off when they wear out and replace them, although predictably that's going to set you back 70 quid. The headband itself looks incredibly dorky and somewhat fragile on first inspection, but it is actually extremely comfy and distributes the weight of the headset nicely. That's a good thing because this is one of the heaviest headsets that I personally have worn. I can easily get away with wearing these continuously for a few hours without getting any of that head crushing feeling, and my ears stay surprisingly fresh and unsweaty. They're less comfy however to move around in as they're so heavy. You'll just feel them jiggling up and down on your head. As far as controls go, you are well served by a couple of controls here on the right ear cups. So first of all, you get the Apple Watch like digital crown with which you control playback and the volume, and then there's this little push button which allows you to change the noise cancelling mode. You'd need to be aware, however, that these things offer no water resistance whatsoever, so you really don't want to get caught in a shower, as quite often happens in England in March. But look, the time has come. We have to talk about this absolute car crash of a case. Now, you might well be sick of hearing YouTubers beating up on this case. If that's the case, please skip forward 1 minute, because here goes. Seriously, Apple, what were you thinking? Whilst the headphones themselves scream quality and sport a thoughtfully quirky design, the case is reminiscent of something that you might find in a charity shop circa 1973. It's made of this durable but weirdly textured rubbery stuff. It just looks, how can I put this, wrong, whichever way you look at it. It offers absolutely no protection to the headband or to the stainless steel arms, and it allows the ear cups to knock together disconcertingly when you take them out of the case. Look. Ooh, ouch. Sadly, you do need this case because putting the headphones inside and closing the flappy thing is the only way you can put these headphones into a low power mode. If you don't do that and just leave them out, then they'll drain battery faster than Lewis Hamilton in a hurry. So pairing these to an iPhone is dead easy. You just open the case and they'll be picked up instantly, and once connected to your iCloud account, they'll appear in all your connected devices. Lovely. Once paired with your phone, you can fiddle with settings in the Bluetooth menu, including the gimmicky spatial audio feature, which I'll come on to later. You can pair them with Android devices, like my trusty Pixel 4a here. However, you won't have access to all the controls that you do with the Apple devices, and you won't get spatial audio. Now, in terms of Bluetooth audio codecs, you get nothing fancy here, I'm afraid, just AAC and SBC. Now, they also contain some clever circuitry inside them which applies some computational fiddling to the signal to compensate for things like your ear shape, the type of music you're listening to, and the environment. This is by no means a pure, unadulterated representation of the original recording. But enough of the babble. How do they actually sound? Actually, not too bad. No, I think that's not fair actually. I think these are the best sounding over-ear, wireless, noise-cancelling Bluetooth headphones that I've heard. Now, I know that's a narrow and somewhat niche field. Let's take a quick look at the frequency response curve. The curve is surprisingly neutral over the mid-range, with a definite boost to the bass, particularly the sub-bass region, and another significant treble boost. This is pretty much the tonality you hear when you're actually listening to the AirPod Maxes. They are definitely a bass prominent headset, but unlike the Sony XM4s, the bass is not at all muddy. It's weighty, sure, but it's controlled and never threatens to overwhelm the other frequencies. Take something like Left Field's Melt, for example, a track with deep sub-bass hits. You can certainly feel the power, but it never loses control. The mid-range is nice and balanced, making male vocals in particular shine. Perhaps there could be a bit more upper mid presence, but that's a minor complaint. The treble is somewhat prominent too, presumably to offset that sub-bass thump, and to me it sounds just right. However, if you have treble phobia, you might find them a little bit bright, but there's no harshness and certainly no sibilance. The other aspects of the sound signature, however, leave a little bit more to be desired. Remember, they are closed back headphones, so the soundstage is not massively wide, nor is it deep. Instrument separation is okay really, but it's not class leading, and if you've got an orchestral track, for example, with complex layers of instruments, you'll struggle to separate them, and you'll find that these are not the most resolving or detailed headphones. And the imaging, well, that's really not very good. You'll find it so hard to pinpoint the origin of various instruments. And I find this actually all a bit disappointing for a £550 pair of headphones. You could get a mind-blowingly good set of wired open-back headphones for the same price, or actually much cheaper, for example the Sundaras or the Drop 6XX. These are not headphones that those who are after the best sound quality for the price should ever consider. However, the average consumer, maybe someone who hasn't wasted half their life and most of their savings on hi-fi gear, will be pleasantly surprised by how good they sound, particularly compared to typical consumer trash like Beats headphones. But I reckon that most people who will be looking at these won't be buying the AirPod Maxes for the out-and-out sound quality. They'll be tempted by the other features, such as the insanely good noise cancellation. These are honestly the truly best noise cancelling earphones that I've had the pleasure of owning, and it's stunning that Apple has done this on their first attempt. The transparency mode is also astoundingly good, which allows you to hear what people are saying around you, whilst avoiding the robotic and over-amplified sound of many rivals. You'd imagine that with the class-leading noise cancellation, these would be fantastic for travelling. Problem, however, is that their sheer weight. They really are heavy. The lack of a solid carrying case, zero waterproofing, and the inability to listen to them at all if their battery runs out. All these things limit their value to me as ideal travel headphones. Now, I mentioned the other quirky feature, which is the spatial audio. Now, that's hard to describe, but basically it simulates directional audio, which changes when you move your head around. I must admit, the first time I heard it, it freaked me right out, and it's certainly a little bit of fun, but nothing else, nothing for you audio nerds to get excited about. Calm down, calm down. Now, there have been some worrying reports of people noticing condensation on the body of the headphone after you take the pad off, particularly after long listening sessions. Now, it's been pretty cold here in England, and I've worn these out and about as well as at home, and I must admit I haven't had any issues with condensation. So I guess it's time to bring this home, as you chaps from across the Atlantic say. So firstly, I want to emphasize the fact that these are the best sounding headphones in their narrow category. However, they're not at all audiophile grade. I don't think any Bluetooth headphones are, for that matter. You should definitely temper your expectations regarding sound quality, although their tonal balance is really good and makes me smile a lot. Secondly, they are not at all good value, because although the cans themselves are exquisitely built, the almost cynical lack of any accessories in the box, coupled with the travesty of this horrible carrying case, makes me extremely cross. Thirdly, the noise cancellation and integration with the Apple ecosystem are both exceptionally good features, and they might well persuade you to buy these, and I think that's really the crux of the matter. Look, these are luxury headphones for dedicated Apple fans who want a decent sounding set of cans that fit in seamlessly with their Apple device-centric life. Audio nerds, however, who are focused on sound above all else, will do better to look elsewhere. I'll stick to my HD 650s and Sundaras for proper audiophile home listening, and whilst I'm out and about, I'll keep my much cheaper, much more portable AirPod Pros, because they too, after all, have noise cancelling and are much easier to carry around and wear. That's it, guys. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed your audio fixation this week. Look out for more coming up soon. Take care.